All right, I'm back with you, Nagesh, and I wanted to continue the conversation on the SBA and the program there, and start by you've been a leader in a lot of realms, as we said, in creating new ways to do things. Now you're creating new ways and offering entrepreneurs the financial capabilities to develop what new technology, what new improvements that they can bring to their communities specifically. Can you start off by telling us how this evolved? What are the opportunities? How it's all working?
Yeah, so the main leads on this program are Javier Sade and John Williams, and hopefully you'll be able to talk with them too more down the road as you continue this program. This program's been around since 1982. It morphed into something that was experimented with at NSF in the late 70s and then became law by 82. And it was basically the notion of how do we encourage the necessary federal research and development that needs to be done to maintain America's leadership in science technological leadership, and couple that with the notion of economic development and small business growth and development and advancement of commercialization that allows those companies to grow and do that innovative research that is needed to be done by the government for the government and country's needs.
Right.
And so it's been around for a long time, but part of it's lived on its own. I think the thing is that we've never done a really good job of conveying what it is and how it's perceived. Off and on it's been conveyed, but I've known about the program for at least about 10, 15 years now. So, but I've never seen it conveyed in an adequate manner than recently over the past few years. And, I'm proud to be part of those efforts with Javier and John and the team and to convey with the SBIR community, the program managers from the hardworking 11 participating agencies. And they do an amazing job in conveying the opportunities with this program. And it's non-dilutive funding, essentially.
Right.
It's free money from the government to do cutting and necessary critical R&D and commercialize that development of the technology. And it focuses on generally high risk, high reward technological development. But it's for the needs of the government, whether it's in energy or ag or agriculture or life sciences. So, for defense, for example, they need a lot of that technology incorporated into their systems because they're going to be the main customer for it. But for agencies like National Science Foundation or Health and Human Services, NIH, National Institute of Health, the main customer there is going to be the American public. That technology that has to get commercialized to better the needs of the American people, specifically from a better quality of life from the health and human service perspective, or from general advances in science and technological development from the National Science Foundation perspective. So there are different needs based on the agencies that administer it. Like Department of Energy, it's towards the needs of, better energy solutions for long-term prosperity, growth, and development, because energy is just something that's a mainstay of life. Everyone needs electricity. Everyone needs gas. Right. Everyone needs that notion of energy in order to be able to travel, to operate their phones. So the technology that is behind it to allow for that that construct to be maturated and utilized in the form of batteries, or whether it's heating your house, or if it's operating planes, whatnot. It's
sure.
It's of importance to everyone, and it's not even just American needs. It's got a global construct to it. A lot of the technologies that are developed from the SBIR program have their pragmatic place for use in global development. In fact, so one of my favorite public-private partnerships that I've worked on for the past few years and have made sure I've engaged with in my current role also is Launch, which is a public-private partnership between NASA, Nike, USAID, and the U.S. State Department. And it's focused around global challenges and finding solutions towards those global challenges. in pragmatic innovative solutions. And what was really cool is I started to see a trend when I got involved with Launch a few years ago, which was I would see an SBIR funded company participate in the innovator forum. So basically Launch would do a grand challenge statement around energy or around health or around water. And recently they did green chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted the best solutions for this topical area of interest based on, specific needs that they wanted to see. And they would convene basically a roundtable of who's who from the business, legal, science, technology, in design commercialization nexus, and have that council help accelerate those 10 innovators who, with their innovative solutions, grow forward and scale up. And I always saw an SBIR-funded company in some of the previous modules. I would see one like Ecovative Design or Promethean Power Systems. So with green chemistry, I made sure to advocate this. It's a free competition, and you get a free trip to Kennedy Space Center. So if you get accepted and win, I mean, you get to see a space shuttle and all that stuff.
It'd be better. It'd be even better if they can pick you up in a space shuttle and bring you.
That would be awesome too. But you also get to meet some real life astronauts, which is even cooler.
It is.
So Green Chemistry did their program back in January. I got invited to participate again as a council member, and of the funded of the 10 best solutions towards needs in the green chemistry world, 4 of the 10 were SBIR financed companies and innovations, and I was loving it because as people came up and presented what their solution was in the green chemistry space, whether it was toxic-free chemicals for manufacturing or eradication of plastics and petrol-based plastics and going towards biodegradable plastics and whatnot, or clean manufacturing. With the 4 companies that as they were approaching up and saying, "Oh, we got government funding," I would look on my SBIR.gov database. I would look in and say, "Oh, yeah, SBIR, yep, SBIR." So each of those companies. So they kept on saying, "Oh, we got grants and stuff," and then in 2 of them acknowledged. One kind of said, "Oh, we got a grant from NSF," and I knew it was SBIR. And then the last person said NSF, SBIR, blah blah blah.
Right.
And that last person who presented, Molly, when she did it, I clapped my hand in the room, and everyone. And this is being recorded on NASA TV too. It's live on NASA TV at the time, and everyone cracks up laughing. And then I pipe up and I say, "This is proof again." I made a statement of like, proof you got SBIR financing, and a lot of folks in the room were kind of familiar. Some kind of knew about it. A lot did not know about the program. And it was like the perfect opportunity for me to advocate about the program and the 11 agencies who do tremendous, amazing work in financing these top innovators.
I'm sure. One of the things, we work a lot with all types of level of companies, obviously, in my search business, but we love working with startups and growing small companies because we can really see the impact even faster by putting good talent in there, which is number one. But it is amazing the opportunity, I think, here, because there's people from Kansas to Washington to Nebraska to wherever that are brilliant and don't get the start, don't get the help, and we waste that knowledge, and some of them don't even get to college for that matter, and they need something like this. And so I think it's critical because, not to state the obvious, but maybe the national anthem should play behind this statement, but the country was based on small business, entrepreneurial success, building businesses that grew into big companies. And so if we can keep supporting that and getting the word out and recognizing these young leaders that are making this stuff happen, it's only going to motivate other young people to say, "Man, there's a way I got an idea, I can do something here." Don't you think?
Absolutely. And what's really great about our program is that we're filling a void. We're filling a void that the free market won't touch otherwise.
Right.
We're gonna take those risky first bets that the free market wouldn't touch otherwise. We'll take those bets and say, "All right, give us your best idea." So there was a great company last summer that worked with Ebola. So last year, when the Ebola situation went down, there was a controversial serum that was tested out on some folks, and that was from MAP Biopharmaceuticals. MAP Biopharmaceuticals had the drug ZMAP, which was being tested on, and they didn't do a lot of human tests. They're still in development, and they were trying to get to phase 1 clinical trials, but then they had this situation with the Ebola outbreak occur, so they said, here's some of our test serum, which is derived from a tobacco leaf, and they said, give it a shot. And it showed positive results in working. People were kind of stunned. And then we looked into it further, and the company, MAP Biopharmaceuticals, which is out of San Diego, has SBIR funding to develop that drug, that serum to help out with the Ebola. Back in 2008, if I recall, 2007, 2008 is when NIH, Health and Human Services, and National Institutes for Health, put some money down and said, this is something we need to consider. Back in 2007, 2008. So. Wow. 2014 rolls around, the situation occurs. This is what forecasting is all about. This is what trend setting, thinking ahead of playing the long yard. And, I think that's good government. That's good governance in the sense of we're gonna take a look and see what the trends are. We're gonna take a look and see what the atmosphere and litmus conditions are, and we're gonna say, all right, these are some areas that need to be developed. They won't be developed overnight, and the free market's not going to touch it yet. So we'll start getting folks and getting us towards that path. And voila, 2014 rolls around. People are going, what do we do?
That's a tremendous example because you call it forecasting, call it planning. A lot of times, again, comparing to sports, there's the difference between, telling the coach of the team, if you don't win this year, you're fired, or telling them, this is a sustainable business. I want you to think long term, and decisions are going to be made totally differently. And you think ahead. And you're right. A lot of times those ideas aren't funded because they're too risky, and they got the investors want their return right now, or whatever the scenario is. And so that's why I'm excited about what you're doing, because I see a huge all the time.
And the best part, we don't take ownership. We don't take equity stakes. You keep the money as long as you are honest with it, because it's taxpayer dollars, and you're smart about it. You're showing results with it. But
by the way, I have a question. Do they get there's different types of tax credits? They're not making money yet, but they can carry forward. Do they get R&D tax credits?
I got to look into that. I think certain states do allow for stuff like that to occur. Yeah. So I
have a client of mine that does tax credits for all types of companies, and I bet you there's a benefit for them there too. Let me ask you.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the intellectual property the company gets to keep.
Yeah, which I think is. Where can you get a deal like that?
Yeah. Our return on investment is jobs created and economic development, and ensuring that those companies commercialize and get that technology out to the mainstream public.
I always say, do the arithmetic. Pick a number. 500,000 small businesses start in the year. They each hired 2 people. You got 1 million people working now.
Right.
Okay? Simple arithmetic. What happens if there's millions of small businesses hire 2 people? Yep. It doesn't take much. That's where it all happens, and it's spectacular. Let me ask you about boards and advisory boards for a second. What's your thought of what the right fit is for a lot of these young companies that you're dealing with to have maybe a board or certainly an advisory board working with them?
It's always good. You want to have a diverse board from a technical, from an educational diversity background, but also ethnographically diverse background, because your customer is global. It's not a homogenous customer. It's going to be a heterogeneous customer for the most part these days. That customer base it's a globalized society. A board is as good as the leadership of the company is willing to allow it to be. Mm-hmm. And it's a culture thing. Boards are there to help guide and advise and encourage. Anyone who serves on a board, I serve on a few, they have to feel like they're there for the benefit of the mission and benefit of the organization. It's not about me, it's about we. It's a team environment. So it's important to spend some time on the board. And And it's funny because recently I actually have been kind of scaling back. I'm on a lot of different stuff, and I've started to scale back, and I've said, okay,
Right.
my duration is up. I'm going to not engage a lot more. I will always be a cheerleader, always be a supporter, but I'm actually going to step back a little bit and encourage new blood going on. And people are going, but you're great. You know, why not? I said, because I have limited energy, limited time bandwidth, and you need a less busy mind to engage. And so I'm actually a bit more purposeful and a bit more um, a bit more
Purposeful is a good word.
yeah,
Actually.
purposeful. Yeah, very
In fact,
very
we talk
cognizant.
about that a lot with respect to really have to know how to engage the board time effectively.
Right.
Because for everybody's benefit, to be honest, and give them maybe different responsibilities and accomplishments and whatnot. A couple more quick questions because I want to
Yeah.
respect your time. Up and coming leaders, you've kind of answered this to a great degree. What advice would you give someone with respect to they're starting out about the importance of, you said mentoring, the importance of building relationships, that type of thing for their career?
Yeah, it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street, and it's what you put in is what you get out in return.
Yeah.
So definitely that. And the other thing is be humble, but fearless. So you should always be anyone who wants to be a leader and go and make good stuff happen is going to have to always take charge and move the needle forward. But they should be humble and be mindful of the world around them and understand their piece in the system and embrace that, embrace it wholeheartedly, and be unapologetically honest. Be unapologetically honest and truthful. Truth is, we need more truth in the dialogue and conversation. I think I respect people who are a bit more pragmatic and honest and open with me than if they're, suave and cute with their ways, but closed and deceitful. That's not the way to do business. If you
Well,
want to do really good, successful business, you work with someone who you know and trust.
authenticity is a word we use a lot to go along.
Yeah, absolutely. Authenticity. Absolutely.
No, great advice. So a couple of personal questions. I promise not way too personal. But
No, it's all good.
do you have any pets?
No, I do not have any pets, although my girlfriend and I have talked about our imaginary pets.
Oh.
We, because we do one day like to. So we've talked about it. She would like an Old English sheepdog. I would like a cat. And then we also talked about getting a pig. And we have
They're pretty smart.
a potbelly pig, which they're smart and they're lawnmowers. Apparently, they will eat grass. So it's
There's
nature's.
that pragmatism coming out again.
Yes, so we've talked about it, and we have names down the road for the Old English sheepdog. We're going with Higgins. The cat's name would be Euler, and the pig's name would be Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter, very cute. I have somebody that worked at what was the name of the ham company, but they call themselves Hambassadors. So there you go. We're starting a program that an executive suggested to us. It was going to be called Executives and Their Pets, but we changed it to Pets and Their Executives. So when you get your dog, you can get a picture. Do you have a favorite activity or sport?
I like weightlifting but I like bicycle riding and stuff. So I do that. I like to read comic books a lot.
Oh, cool. You're
and watch comic book
every year?
movies too. And I work on my guitar a little bit. I haven't played in a while, but I would like to get back into that. But those are some of my favorite activities. Comic books are a near and dear passion of mine. I love comic book movies. I'm very excited about the new Avengers Age of Ultron movie. My room is full of my office here is full of knickknacks of the sort that I have my own clone trooper and Transformers and
Nice.
I've got.
So are you a regular at Comic-Con?
I know. That's one thing that's eluded me. I never done that, but I've got my Han Solo. I know. I've got my Wedge Antilles action figure here, and Same with Princess. My roommate had gotten me a Princess Leia action figure when he was overseas. So
This is the
got a
first. I think this is the first office tour we've had in this whole leadership series.
got a football I got from the White House. I've got my one of my favorite people in the world is Katie Coleman right here with Commander Kelly.
Wow.
Katie's part of the launch program, and she is an astronaut, and she's flown missions with Commander Kelly, who is currently, yep, he's the one up in space right now, Scott's on the one-year mission. So
he's up and his brother's here, right?
Yeah, because his twin brother. So I believe Scott's the one up in space, and Mark is the one down here.
It's quite
for that 1 year.
It's quite an amazing project. Do you have any favorite types of music?
Oh, music? Yeah. So I love me some hipster music of the sort. So I like a lot of like Guster and Fall Out Boy and hip hop as well. Jay-Z, The Black Album is one of my favorites. Pop music, The Sounds are a great band, as well as Garbage and Ladytron. So it's a mixed match of stuff. And then my girlfriend actually got me into a lot of the blues and soul music stuff too. So like she grew up in Michigan, Detroit, and she's got me into Otis Redding and
sitting on the dock of the bay, man.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's wonderful. So
we just saw the Temptations perform. Unbelievable.
Oh, nice. Yeah, her parents grew up around all of that in Detroit, so like.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And so you have a favorite type of food? Last question.
I'm a big fan of pasta.
Good choice.
Hey,
listen,
pasta.
We really appreciate your time. Great stuff.
Yeah,
it's been enjoyable.
This has been fantastic.
It's super stuff, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. This has been wonderful.